What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk and welcome to the preview for the first England game of Euro 2024. We have quite a balanced panel on today. We've got the non-biased opinion with Mr. Shreyas Singh, and we have two English fanatics in me and Alex who are going to be singing It's Coming Home after the first game, after we smashed Serbia 5-0. So, how are we doing, lads, first and foremost? Shreyas, I'll go to you.
Yeah, doing fairly well. The Euros have finally started. I've actually got football to actually watch regularly again.
Oh,
So
God, yeah.
yeah, it's been a breath of fresh air because it actually gets very tough. Not watching football. There's no football on and not signing any players, and
Mm.
no news whatsoever. It's just uncertainty. So it was a good change of pace for me watching Germany versus Scotland last night.
Absolutely, and we're going to get into that in a moment. Alex, are you looking forward to it? Was that quite a boost start from the game last night as well? Has that got you right into the mood of the Euros?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love it every couple of years when the international tournaments come on. I love it. It's a good way to start, wasn't it? Seeing
Mm.
Scotland get absolutely leathered.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what we want.
Shut a few of them up, but yeah,
Mm.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to tomorrow.
I was thinking yesterday when I was watching it, because obviously Germany, we're not fans of Germany as like England fans. We're also not fans of Scotland. So I was kind of looking at it, I was like, I don't know who I want to win, to be honest with you. If Germany lost, I'd be quite happy. If Scotland lost, but it was
Yeah.
inevitable with like the quality in the teams, I suppose.
Of course.
Just before we start, Alex, there was news this morning. I don't know if it's this morning or afternoon that broke about Kevin Campbell passing away. Sadly, I think it was age 58 or 56. It might have been. I'm not entirely sure on the specifics, but obviously I know he played for Everton, he played for Arsenal as well. Just chat to us a little bit about him as a player, because I don't know much myself. I'm sure Shreyas probably doesn't know much about him. Yeah, just chat to me a little bit his time at Everton.
Oh mate, he's one of my first ever heroes. To be honest, I started uh, getting into Everton around about 2002. Um, so he was our main man really, but at that point we had Rooney at the time just coming through, so he was probably my first mega hero sort of thing. But then we
Big
had Kevin
mentor to Rooney
Campbell.
as well, wasn't he? In that
Yeah,
sense.
massive. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I was watching a video before actually. It was posted by United channel,
yeah.
where he's talking about playing with Rooney as a 14-year-old. Like, and he's coming in and they were playing Southport in a pre-season game, and he's just come in and just bullied all the players. But Campbell proper took him under his wing. Like, there was sort of obviously Rooney had a lot more to his game than what Campbell did. Campbell was like he was your old school number nine who
Yeah.
who got himself about, but he knew how to finish. He was just a great player, and Rooney learnt a lot from him, definitely. But yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. He's only 54, I think he was.
Yeah.
Short illness, kidney failure, I think it was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so yeah, gutted because we all love him at Everton. Like, absolutely, he's one of our. He was the first black guy to ever captain Everton,
That's cool.
so that'll stay in history,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you think right at the time, we signed him on loan from Trabzonspor in Turkey in '99, and there was about 8 games of the season to go, 9 games, I think, and we were we were looking dead and buried, like relegated, absolutely, like just come in, and then he's come in and he's got I think nine goals in 9 games, I think it was, kept us up. And you think if it wasn't for him, like genuinely, we could be floating about League One right now
Mm.
if it weren't for him. Like the
Yeah.
way that what I mean. So he's a massive hero of mine, massive hero of every Evertonian. Arsenal fans love him. Forest fans love him. West Brom fans love him. He was part of that team that West Brom team that stayed up, that Great
Hmm.
Escape in 2005. So yeah, he'll be a massive miss to football.
I, I think you can always, excuse me, tell the magnitude of a man by the way people speak about him and all. I was listening to a lot of people on Sky Sports News kind of tuning in. Alan, fucking hell, second name's forgetting. Alan Striker, played for Arsenal. Second name.
Right.
Alan Smith. Jesus Christ, something like that fucking eluded me. Was speaking about him, such like awe of the man, and a lot of other people who worked with him at Sky as well, just saying like he was a phenomenal person. So yeah, I thought it was only right we kind of start off with that, and of course, rest in peace and thoughts with his families as well. If we can, Trey, let's bring it back slightly to the Euros. We discussed the game at the start of the show with Germany and Scotland. What were your thoughts on that game? Was that the right opener? Does that set the tone maybe for the rest of the tournament, do you think?
Yeah, it kind of did, because I think, before going into this tournament, I think there were a lot of question marks over Germany. They've been a pretty mixed side, during the course of the international friendlies, and even last year they didn't really have an exciting campaign. So, going into this tournament, they went with quite a, different setup as to, what they usually have. They had the likes of Goretzka, they had the likes of Thomas Muller, who used to be constantly involved in that lineup, but they've, moved away from that. They brought in the likes of Musiala, they've brought in the likes of Wirtz, and even in the midfield with Andrich and Cruz, Cruz coming back as well into the international
How is
team.
he retiring, by the way? What on earth is
He
going
sure
on there?
he can easily go 2-3 seasons more at the topmost
Yeah, and
level
win
with
another
the way
2
he
Champions
plays.
Leagues on top of that as well.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think they've got a very very balanced setup. They've and the players that they've got up front, the likes of Musiala and Wirtz, just flawless football, free
Ugh.
free fluid football, and they're going to be causing big problems for any team who that they're going to be coming up against, because they've still got the likes of Leroy Sané actually making their way from the bench or starting. They've also got the likes of Fulkrug who can come on for Havertz. So,
Proper striker,
he's
full
he's a
cook.
mixed bag. He actually changes things around. You with Havertz you've got a different type of a striker up front. With Fulkrug coming in, he's much more of a traditional number 9. When he's playing for Germany. So overall, I think even with the defense, they look quite structured
Hmm.
and organized. And I think moving into this tournament now, Germany are going to be, they needed a statement win to actually start off the tournament. And, coming up against Scotland, they've set the right tone for themselves for the rest of the tournament. And I think it's going to be exciting, because it's been a while that, you can see Germany actually performing the way they usually do at these sort of competitions, because the last World Cup wasn't good for them. The World Cup before that wasn't good for them. And even the past two Euros tournaments haven't really been that great for them. So maybe, this can be something that can actually change the direction for them with the likes of Wirtz and Musiala coming in.
I think Scotland's Euros peaked when fucking Tierney celebrated clearing it in like the 3rd minute or something. Oh my God, what are you doing? Still another 87 minutes to go yet. The fuck you playing at? Crazy. Yeah, look, that wasn't the game they was probably looking at and thinking, it's Germany at home. This isn't going to be the game that, knocks us out of the group. So, yeah, but obviously didn't expect it to go the way that it did. Bringing it to England, Alex, we're certainly hoping England don't repeat what that Scotland did against Germany. Sorry. If you look at the form coming into this, all competitions, lost one, won, drew, lost, drew, then won. How much you want to read into that, I'm not entirely sure. But we've also come into this group stage pretty injury hit as well. Noel Maguire, of course, who's been a mega important player for England. Shaw won't be available until, I think, the second game. Stones has been touch and go as well. With it, I think he will be ready, but he's been a couple of question marks. But even with all that, with the amount of talent we have on the pitch, there's no excuses, right?
Well, yeah, that's what you'd think, wouldn't you? But you just don't know, do you? Like we do this, don't we? Where we sort of we go into a tournament, especially off like the back of the warm up games, and generally we seem to play teams who are nowhere near as good as us, like we kind of do in the qualifiers. So we just steamroll through and make it look easy and qualify without breaking a sweat. But then when it comes to actually, competitive games, but competitive games against competitive teams, like teams who are sort of close to our level, that's where we're falling short, isn't it? So, um, yeah, it's a strange one. Like, I'd rather wait until, tomorrow night after, and see what the result is then. But you could easily make a case that we beat them 6-0, as well as
Yeah.
making a case that we lose 1-0. Like that's kind of where we're at the minute. And like you say, with the injuries and stuff like that, yeah, we have got incredible players everywhere, but it's more than just having incredible. I mean, you go back like to when we were kids and we had like Euro 2004 or the World Cup 2006 and stuff like that. And we should, based on talent alone, like we probably should have won them tournaments. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
it's not
is
always
tricky.
the best team who wins it. To be fair, it
No,
isn't always the best team. It's
exactly.
also how you play as a team as well, and I think some of it's going to be unbalanced due to certain players coming in, which we'll get into in a moment, especially in the midfield. But just sticking with the defence, Reyes, obviously you've got, it's going to be Pickford, Walker, Stones, and I think Gay is the one that's been kind of earmarked to start the first game. But you also have Konsa, who's been phenomenal for Aston Villa. You had Dunk, who's been relatively good for Brighton. I know they've got a pretty shit record defensively, and they're quite open. But he's a captain as well, I think, at Brighton. So interesting choices there. Would you personally go with Gay as well? Do you think that's the right choice?
I think I would, because looking into how Serbia actually play, you would need someone like Gehi to actually be there, because they're not a team that tend to attack from the flanks a lot. They are more of a team that play, they like to play through centrally, and they've got a couple of exciting players who can cause a bit of trouble to opposition teams. And going into this game, I think at least till Luke Shaw actually comes back, I think this is going to be the go-to back four for Gareth Southgate until Luke Shaw does come back. I think Gahey is going to be starting, Stones is going to be starting, and Trippier and Walker are going to be starting on the flanks. But apart from that, I really don't think that that in the full-backs department there are as many alternatives. In the centre-back department, for sure, there are a bunch of people that you can go to. But I just think that since it's the first game of the tournament, he'll look to go with a much more protected backline rather than experimenting a lot. And especially against teams like Serbia, they're a mixed bag. And like I said, in a lot of cases with United as well, these sort of teams, they have it in them to beat England or United 1-0 on any given day. And when
Yeah.
it doesn't go in their favor, and things do start to flow in the right direction, England or United can beat these sort of teams 5-0 or 6-0 without taking a sweat. So it's going to be an interesting game. But as far as I've seen Gareth Southgate setting up in a lot of these tournaments, I think he'll go with that protected back line, the ones that he has been starting in those warm-up fixtures as well. He isn't going to deviate from it as much.
And the one thing that's been pickling my brain, Alex, is the midfield. I really want to talk about that, because where do you put Foden? Where does Bellingham play? How do you balance? Do you bring Trent into the midfield? So obviously we've done our predicted 11s, which we'll get into towards the end. But what are their best positions in your opinion, Alex? Bellingham, Foden, these kind of guys.
I mean, it's tricky. Like Bellingham, that's where he's been playing, hasn't he? Number like for us and also for Real Madrid. He's even played as a false nine for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
He's had an amazing season in terms of goals and especially goals at Madrid. So, as much as, leading up to his move to Madrid, he did play further back. Since he's gone to Madrid, he's absolutely flourished. And I just think to have a player as good as him in the form that he's in, I think you have to play him like attacking, and you have to play him in that number 10 personally. And with Foden, like he's another one who you can't really pinpoint what his position truly is. Like I'm sure he would say he'd like to be a number 10, and that's where he feels most comfortable. But he plays a lot on the wing, on the right and the left, and feasibly you could see him even maybe not now, like and with the players that we have, but maybe later in his career, he wouldn't look out of place playing sort of like as a deep lying midfielder. You know what I mean? So I think he's got that in him to move around the pitch, and of course Bellingham does, but I just think right now you've got to put Bellingham in, like and you've got to play to his strengths, and right now that's where he's doing the business, isn't he? So put him up there, put him behind Kane, and in front of obviously Rice, and then you imagine Trent, and let's go from there. I think that's where he should go and where he will go.
To put my 2 pence in on this, I don't usually, because if I'm hosting, I quite like to just let the people speak, and obviously I'm doing that anyway. But just to give my 2 pence on this, I've thought about it quite a bit. And I think the balance is such an important thing, because when you play Foden and you play Kane and Saka, and everyone wants to come to feet, really. I know Saka can run in behind and he's good at it, but you've got a lot of players coming to feet, so there's no teams that are stretching the play, if you know what I mean. And if a team's staying compact centrally and they're sitting back and playing a bit of a low block, it's hard to stretch him, you know what I mean? Whereas if you have like a Marcus Rashford or an Anthony Gordon in this case, because obviously Rashford isn't even at the Euros, that changes it. And I think Gordon as well, work rate off the ball, what he offers. Likewise with Saka, it's a different kind of... I know Foden works hard, but I'm saying like sticking wide and tracking back. Foden's quite, can marvel across that kind of central area. And also Foden, I think, Shreyas, I don't know if you agree, cutting in from the right-hand side, as you've seen for City so many times. Like, if you actually look at his metrics, the XG from the goals that he scored is just fucking outrageous. So I think Foden on that right-hand side could be interesting as well, but he's never going to drop Saka, is he?
No, and once again, we firsthand seen how bad Phil Foden can be cutting in from that right hand side when he came up against us against United
Yeah.
at the Etihad. So we've seen it firsthand as to how deadly he can be from that right hand side. But I think he is going to go with Saka on the right hand side, and he is going to be going. I think for him, Saka is undroppable. On the
Yeah.
same hand, for him, Foden is undroppable as well. I think personally there should be, one of those wingers who can allow to, stretch the play up so that, there can be spaces for players like Kane and Bellingham to actually move into, because this is the one thing that, Gareth Southgate has always struggled with. He's not able to get the best out of his attacking forwards, even though England have been producing, you could say, absolute gems in that area, after quite some time.
Mate, look at our bench, Shreyas, Watkins and
Yeah,
Palmer. It's
yeah,
like, what the fuck?
exactly my point. And apart from that as well, players like Anthony Gordon, they do help out a lot. Players that who haven't actually gone to the tournament, players like James Maddison, even they bring something completely different to a team. But he's just not been able to get the best out of these guys when it comes to moving forward. Defensively, he's been quite solid, no doubt about it. But moving forward right now, I think England does need that sort of a dynamic where players like Kane, players like Saka and Bellingham as well, they can express themselves more freely, because right now it doesn't really happen. And like we mentioned before as well, against these sort of teams, and I think in the group stages at least, England have become a lot more better. They're able to get out of the group much more comfortably as to, if you compare it to how it used to happen before. But moving into these knockout stages, when, England come up against a team like a France, Croatia, or these sort of teams where, the other team do have that bite to actually, cause you problems. They've just not been able to, get over the finish mark. Even when they've, been able to take an early goal lead or started the game quite positively, they're just not able to keep it up.
Yeah. You know what I was surprised about with Foden as well, Alex? In particular, have you seen his record for England? He's got like 1 goal in 34 games for England.
It's not great.
This is
It's
like
not.
a player of the season in the Premier League. Is it Pep's system that he needs, or is it Southgate's fault basically for why they're performing? Would you suggest that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly. Like, I think I just so like Saka is undroppable. Like, and I think Foden has done so well for City playing on that right hand side. Um, most of his goals have come from that side.
Yeah.
So when Saka is undroppable, he is, and he's an amazing player. Obviously, so is Foden. But I think with the fact that Saka is literally just a right winger, whereas with Foden, he can play on the left, he can play behind the striker, possibly deeper. So I just think he's never really been able to sort of, I don't know, yeah, maybe express himself is the way to put it,
Yeah.
but like also nail down a position and nail down a place in the starting 11. Like as amazing as he is, like it wouldn't surprise you if he doesn't start tomorrow, but it would surprise you if Saka didn't start. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's got a headache in that sense. It's a nice headache almost, because you've got so many
Yeah,
good players to pick from.
yeah.
But I don't know, I'm going to be very interested to see that lineup tomorrow, and we'll get into the starting 11s very, very shortly. Just a couple of stats for you. So the Euro record, excluding obviously the lottery of penalties when we lost to Italy, England have only lost one of their last 18 final games. So won 10 and drew 7. Under Southgate's management, England have won all 3 of their opening games in tournaments as well, so that bodes well for us if you like statistics. You've got obviously Harry Kane, who's I think the most goal involvement in Europe. You've got Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden, one Player of the Year, and I think it was Bellingham Player of the Season in the Spanish league as well, or at least nominated for it. I think,
Yeah.
which is obviously huge. So the talent that we've got is undeniable. And I was looking at something a Serbian reporter said about the game. I thought it was interesting. He said that the two sides' attack-minded playing styles should make for an open game and potentially quite a few goals. Sure, Serbia are up against one of the main contenders to win the competition, but they know that their first final campaign in 24 years will not hinge on this one match. Sounds like Scotland. The Serbia's attitude, give it a go. Excuse me, who knows what might happen. And just on Serbia, look, I'm not expecting anyone to be a Serbian journalist. I know, depth knowledge about how they tactically set up or anything like that. But, it's a big game for them. Like I just mentioned, it's the first time since Serbia become an independent nation that they've played England. And if you look at the threats, aerial prowess is one of them. A third of their 15 qualifying goals were scored by headers, which is the highest proportion of any of the finalists. And the form, win, loss, draw, loss. So they've got quite a mixed bag as well heading into this. So it's not an absolute given that England are going to smash him. You look at the other teams in the tournament, Alex, Denmark, Slovenia as well. Is this a tougher group than it seems, do you think, potentially?
I mean, it's not a gimme group by any means. I don't think anyone's saying that that we definitely go in and just roll teams over. But obviously, of the 4 teams, we are by far the best. Like we should be topping that group, like no questions asked. Like Denmark, Slovenia, and who is it? Sorry,
Serbia.
Serbia,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah. They're all decent teams, of course they are. But we're finishing top of the group, and if we don't, then that is a failure. Simple as.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And Trez, we're quite familiar with some of the individuals in their team as well. You've got Tadic, who we know quite well. We've got Kostic, who plays at Juventus. Milinkovic Savic, United have been linked with for as long as I can remember.
Vlahovic up top. And
Yeah,
Mitrovic up top.
Vlahovic, Mitrovic up top. Worried about any of those threats at all?
Oh, definitely. I think Milinkovic, Savic, Tadic, Vlahovic, Mitrovic, Kostic on the
And another question, just to throw into that as well, is there any players who don't have itch at the end in the Serbian squad? That'd be interesting to see.
none. All of them have itch.
Every single one of them, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
The
wonder
entire
when one
starting
comes
11
into like the dressing room or starts and they don't have itch at the end, if he's kind of like
What are
segregated
you doing
on the bench.
on his own table. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah.
What's your second name? We'll sit on a separate table. Idiot. Sorry, Shreyas.
Yeah, and in their backline as well, I think they have Milinkovic, who plays for Fiorentina, the centre back. He's quite decent. Their goalkeeper as well, I think, has had 18 clean sheets this season in the Serie A. So he's had they've got some really decent players in that lineup, and apart from it, they do play a back 5. So you're gonna have to stretch them out in order to get those sort of spaces, and otherwise it's not going to be an end to end. It's going to be a very scrappy game. It's going to be that 1-1, 2-1 sort of games if England are not able to stretch that back line enough. But yeah, they do have players who can cause you issues. Tadic as well on his day can be a big problem, playing behind 2 strikers, especially Vlahovic has had a very decent campaign with Juventus. Mitrovic as well, we all know that when given the opportunities, even he can cause a lot of issues. And both of them, they're quite physical strikers, both Vlahovic as well as Mitrovic. So it's going to be a very tough battle for John Stones and Gehi. So I think if Stones is not 100% fit, he's going to have a hard time today, coming up against both of these physical strikers. And I just think, like you mentioned, the group, you've got Denmark, you've got Serbia and Slovenia. On paper, England have got by far a much better squad. Even I think even if you look at England's bench, they've got a much better squad in comparison to these sort of teams, no doubt about it. But I've always just seen that whenever England go to the tournament as favorites, they slip up in just one game.
Oh yeah,
just one game they do slip up. It
mate.
happens. Yeah,
we know it.
Yeah, but yeah, apart from it, I think it should be an England win. Considering the type of team they're coming up against, but Serbia are a genuine mixed bag. They're not I wouldn't even say they're a team that plays as a team, as a collective. They've got individuals in that team who, if they have a good outing, they can actually cause you a lot of issues. If not, you can actually steamroll past them quite easily. But the important thing is, coming up against a back five against this sort of team, you need to stretch them out if you want any opportunities.
We're going to talk about ones to watch in a moment. Quickly switch screens there, just to double check. Yeah, that's fine. Just because me camera battery was dying, I'm just trying to blend it like it isn't, like nothing's happening. There isn't absolute chaos going on
Sure.
behind the screen. But it's fine. It's fine. We switch screens, so we'll go into ones to watch in a moment, Alex. But I want to discuss the predicted 11s because every single one of us on here, all three,
Same 11.
have simultaneously agreed that it's pretty much going to be this team. So we've gone with Pickford, Walker, Stones, Gay, Trippier, Rice, Bellingham, Trent, Saka, Kane, and Foden, right? Did we all agree on that? Just to
Yeah,
double check.
Yeah.
Why Trent in the midfield, lads? Why do we
I
think,
think
Trent?
once again, like the word you mentioned, balance. And because if you put Trent in there, at least there is someone who can function as as a pure central midfielder. Because apart from it, if you stick Foden in there, he'll only play as a 10. If you stick Cole Palmer in there, once again another 10. Um, I don't think he's going to be. I think the perfect midfield would be Mainu, Declan Rice, and Bellingham. But I know that Southgate isn't going to be starting Mainu in these sort of games, especially in the start of the tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets some minutes off the bench, but in an ideal world, Mainu should be starting, and I think Mainu and Rice in the double pivot, Bellingham can go crazy in the tournament. But I just think that out of the options that he's got in at his disposal, and with the way Southgate does play, I think it's going to be Rice, it's going to be Trent, and it's going to be Bellingham in front of them. But I just really don't know, as to how he's going to be. I don't think that he still knows what his best starting 11 is. I think this is his 11 that he trusts, that can get the job done in these sort of games. But moving and ahead in the tournament, Rice, Trent, and Bellingham, I'm not sure if this is the perfect balanced midfield that he should go in for.
Sorry, it's been a bit.
Yeah,
Like I said, chaos
yeah.
behind the screen. I don't
Nothing's
know
happened.
why.
Nothing's happened.
It has. It's just got rid of you. I don't know why. The bottom screen there. It's just a pink kind of apple thing. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why it's doing that. But I will try to sort that out. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you on Trent and the balance and stuff. I'm just defensively it does worry me, Trent, and maybe in these games you might get away with it, Alex. But I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Trent, midfield?
It's obviously a risk, isn't it? At the end of the day, like
Yeah.
as much as he's played there a few times for England, and he's done a pretty good job, to be fair to him. It's a risk because he doesn't put he's a right back, like he's a right back, like
Yeah.
as good as he is on the ball, as good, like he's one of the best passers in the world by far. Um, so you understand trying to get him into the team just off the basis of how good his passing is and the chances he'll create and stuff like that. Obviously, there has always been that kind of question mark over him, whether rightly or wrongly, fairly, unfairly, about is he defensively good enough. It's a big risk because yeah, like I say, he's not a midfielder. He's coming in basically doing a job where it's like we're trying to sort of shoehorn his talent into the team, like knowing what he's got on the ball without necessarily saying if he is the best option in that specific position. Like Mainu's obviously a shout. I agree with Shayas. I think it is, it would be a massive surprise anyway to see Mainu, to be honest, even start a
Yeah.
single game at the tournament. But yeah, I don't know. It's a big shot, but then it might just be that then tomorrow night he gets 3 assists, and then we're all like, well, what was we worried about? But of course, yeah, it is. It's got to be different game to game. So maybe it works against Serbia or Slovenia or whoever, and maybe it wouldn't work against France. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Who
Would you have
knows
taken
until we
would
actually
you have
see it.
taken someone else as that pure central midfielder in this tournament, apart from the options that have gone?
I'll let you answer that, Alex. Go on.
So who would I put there instead?
Yeah, any option out of from apart from the options that are already going, because I don't really see any other pure central midfielder in there apart from Menu. Who else probably you would have gone along with?
Well, I mean, there's Adam Wharton who's gone, hasn't
Yeah,
he?
Yeah,
He looks like a very, very good player.
that's who I was going to say.
Um,
Wharton. Yeah.
yeah,
I like him a lot. We were linked with him actually last year. We should have got him. Gutted we didn't. But yeah, I don't know. I think, to be honest, in terms of the midfield, like we probably have picked. I think it is the right sort of balance that we have got. Like, um, I like the fact that Mainu's there. He's worked his way into it. Like, he's been about for about 5 minutes, but you can see what a good player he is, and he deserves to be there. So I would be interested to see that. It's a bit like you said before, that midfield three of Bellingham, Mainu, and Rice. That could be interesting. Maybe not this tournament, but certainly for the future looking ahead. They're all obviously Bellingham and Mainu are very young. Rice is still only what 25, so
No,
yeah.
he's not even 25, is he? I thought he was younger than that.
you know,
Declan Rice.
he's 24.
I think he's
Right,
younger.
well
I'll
there you
just check.
go.
I'll check.
So that could be three-man midfield for feasibly the next bloody 10 years or something, So
For me, I don't think England have a pure six. So I know Declan Rice can do a good job there. But if anyone's
yeah.
watched Rice for Arsenal this season, he's better as an 8. When you've put
Yeah, he's
Jorginho
got
or
spot.
Partey alongside him, he's played much better.
Yeah.
He's 25.
25, well, fair play.
Yeah.
Don't test the knowledge, people. That's a lesson I've learned in that one. Yeah, so I am a little bit concerned about the midfield, especially in the group stages. I think we'll get away with it. I think we'll be fine against Serbia, Denmark, and Slovenia. But when you start playing France, or I look at Germany, Kimmich,
Yeah.
Gundogan, Cruz, the technicians in that midfield. That's when I think you might start getting found out, and you've got Wirtz and Musiala dropping into certain areas. That would worry me. It would worry me. So I don't know. Maybe he'll tinker with it a little bit. Maybe he'll try Trent. If that doesn't work out, maybe he'll bring Mainu into the fold, or even Wharton, or I don't know, but again, it's another headache for Southgate in that sense. Right, we're going to do some quick fire questions, lads. Okay. So, Cole Palmer, how will he be used this tournament, do you think? Alex, you go first.
I mean, obviously based off the fact we've got Saka and Foden, and then also Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him playing on the right. I imagine he's going to be the backup option to Bellingham
Or even a
as a number
9, false
10.
9, maybe, Cole Palmer. Could you see that?
Southgate
Yeah, I
never
mean,
goes false 9.
Oh, yeah,
but
good
yeah,
point. Southgate's
well,
like,
that's it. I mean, I've never seen Southgate
what
do
is
that, and
this?
obviously Harry Kane
It's
is
Kane or
not going to
nothing.
get dropped at any point.
Yeah.
Like it's pointless that bloody Watkins. Has Tony gone as well? By the way,
Yeah.
I think so.
Tony's
Yeah.
gone
Yeah.
as well, hasn't
So
he?
you've
Yeah,
got 3 strikers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like them two are barely going to see 5 minutes on the pitch. Watkins and
Sorry,
Tony.
that's just reminding me. That just sparked like a thing in my head, and I'll come to you in a moment, Trez. How good do you that Branthwaite didn't go, by the way? Why the fuck has he not gone?
It's a disgrace, man.
That's a
It's
bit
an
of a piss
absolute.
take, that. Why is he
But
not gone?
it just makes no sense, to be honest. Like I think maybe the reasoning is that. So I think personally, he's the alternative was Lewis Dunk. I think that's why Lewis Dunk's gone, and I think it's just because he's got more England experience,
That's
even though he's
bullshit,
not
though.
really got much himself.
He took Adam
And when
Wharton.
he
He's
has
got
played
fucking
for us,
no
he's
England
looked
experience.
Yeah.
exactly. I can't understand it. Obviously, I think Gay's left-footed, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. Well, his left
I
side is
think
centre
so.
half.
Left-footed.
But
Yeah.
Branthwaite's both-footed, isn't he? Really?
Branthwaite. Yeah, he is. Like obviously he's left-footed, but he's so comfortable with his right, and you could put him left back. You could honestly put him right back, and you do a job.
Yeah.
Like
Like
I just
Konsa, in that
obviously
sense.
I like honestly like Consa's there and
Yeah.
Gomez is there, so maybe that's also played its part in the thing in the decision because he's thinking, you know, Consa and Gomez can play anywhere across the back four. So, um, so then you talking purely centre back options. It's Stones, Gahey, and Dunk. So, obviously, if I was picking the England team, if I
He was
had that
picking England
job,
team.
then
Calvert-Lewin would be up top, mate. If he was picking.
yeah, I think Rooney would still be in the
Yeah.
squad. Um, yeah, no, but Branthwaite would go. But to be fair, most English fans, English pundits, not even just English fans and pundits, like most football fans and pundits around the world are
Mhm.
all shocked
Yeah.
that Branthwaite's not on.
Yeah.
Fucking
It
bizarre.
The
reminds me of
season that he's just had.
during the World Cup, the last World Cup, Connor Cody got chosen over Tomori to go.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that's
yeah, what is his problem with Tomori? Like, he's just we've not seen him play for England in about 4 years or
no
something. I
idea.
don't get
Yeah.
it.
No idea. Southgate has these kind of
Well,
little. I don't know what it is. But for you as well, Shreyas, just whilst we're on Brantford as well, just sticking with that, the future Man United centre back. What were your thoughts on him not going?
Yeah, once again, future Man United centre back for about what, 30 million?
Yeah,
Uh,
I reckon that's about a fair price, probably.
cheeky bastards.
but I think genuinely, I think he should have gone. And I think Southgate should be taking these sort of centre backs because these guys also need some experience. It shouldn't be a scenario, where they're 24 or 25 or 26, and then they're going to their first tournament. Because I think players like Minu who are going, they're getting, even if they don't get as many minutes, at least they're getting that experience from that England camp. And these youngsters do need it so that they're just not thrown on to the international scene altogether at 25 or 26. And then I think when a player does feature for their international team at that sort of age, the expectations are much higher, and people sometimes forget that they're still setting into that international scene. So I think personally Branthwaite should definitely have gone. He's had a fantastic season for Everton. He's been doing a decent job for the past few seasons. I think he was at PSV on loan the last year as well. He did
Yeah.
quite a
Under
decent
Van
job.
Nistelrooy.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job there as well. And this season too, he's caught the eye of a lot of clubs. So with the kind of versatility that he brings, I think he definitely should have gone, because in comparison to the choices that have gone instead of him, I think it does offer a lot more, especially in these sort, in these sort of tournaments. You need that sort of a player, who's versatile enough as well to feature in multiple positions, and in set games can come on and actually, solidify that back line at the same time.
I mean, from a selfish perspective, it's good for us because we get him in for pre-season, so happy days about that. He should be fit and firing and ready to go for pre-season. Right, we'll move on.
Not buying. Not buying.
We'll move on. Quickly, we'll get into the chat in a moment. Sorry, there's loads of comments. I've not even read any of them because I've been so dived into the information of all this. Like, so much things to discuss. How does the group finish, do you think? So, Alex, give me your 4 in the order.
Right. Well, obviously, we should be finishing top.
Should be in the keyword
I think
there.
then. Should, yeah. I think then Denmark and Serbia should be fighting it out for second place. But who's to say that Slovenia aren't mugged
Sesko
by any.
FC.
Exactly, yeah. Like, who's to say that Slovenia don't have themselves a decent tournament, and maybe if they don't finish second, they might, you've still got the the chance of the best third place.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because of the
So
qualifying thing. Yeah.
yeah. So realistically, based off not just the talent of the squads, but like based off like history,
Mm-hmm.
international experience, tournament experience, you would imagine England, Denmark, Serbia, Slovenia. But I
It's a
think
tournament,
honestly,
man.
them three,
Yeah, anything
it's a
can happen.
tournament. Who knows what can happen? So them three could all. And
Mm-hmm.
who's to say we don't
I
finish
know.
second?
We could
Like,
fucking finish third or whatever. Jesus.
yeah.
Shreyas, would you agree with that? Would you echo them thoughts?
Yeah, I think England should be finishing top. They have been in these sort of groups as well in the past few tournaments. I think Denmark for me are the dark horses of this tournament again. I think Hoyland is going to be firing, so I think they finish second, and then Serbia third, and Slovenia in last.
It's interesting because we play against Sesko, who he was linked with Slovenia. Hoyland's obviously our striker as well. And then there's been a couple of times with some of the Serbian players. So, yeah, very interesting to have a proper look at them in the group. Will Serbia score tomorrow, yes or no?
Yeah.
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 I think you're right.
I think
you're right,
Mitrovic
yeah.
head or set piece, something like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
can really
yeah.
see that. Yeah.
Vlahovic, love him, yeah.
And here's a question for you. Is you ready? Tough one. Who's better, Bellingham or Foden?
I think overall, it's tricky. It's tricky, right? Because I've loved Foden ever since he's come onto the scene.
Have a
Let's
think
put it that
about
way.
it.
Bellingham.
A question. Oh,
So,
maybe not. Question to the chat. Who's better? Wow, voice going. Who's better, Bellingham or Foden? Let me know in the chat.
Bellingham.
Why?
Bellingham.
Why is Bellingham better? Straight off.
Bellingham is overall better.
Because he's never donned a Manchester City shirt.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. I can't disagree with that. You've won the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, would you lean towards Bellingham as well as a complete package, maybe?
I would, yeah, I would. I love Foden. I think he's amazing, but Bellingham brings more. I think he's just got more about him. You can put him up front, you could put him behind the striker, you could put him in holding midfield even.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me as like a 36-year-old that he ends up at centre back or something. Do you know what I mean? He's one of them who
Not bad looking as well as
that's
this, so he's got it all really in that sense.
gorgeous, yeah.
You know, you can't. I mean, he's fucking modelling for Kim Kardashian's brand and everything. He's quite literally doing it all, Jude Bellingham. So fair play to you, mate. Fair play to you. Prediction for man of the match.
I think someone off the bench.
Oh wow, that doesn't bode well for us, does it? Okay, no.
I think Eze off the bench. Man of the match.
Eze to come off the bench like the Joker in
I
the
think-
deck.
I think once again, I think he's someone I would say, a mystery player for England who can turn out to be an ace, because I think he's really, really gifted and talented. And especially in these sort of games, coming up against a back five, someone like Eze can actually help out a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Alex.
I think, do you know, honestly, like Trent is in with a shout. Like depending on, you could easily, like I said before, he could get 3 assists, like,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't shock you at
Yeah.
all. Like, and I think obviously it's a big test for him. He's never really nailed down a place for England. Is this the opportunity for him to now nail down that place, even if it is playing out of his natural position? Like, it could be huge for him. So yeah, I'll go for him. It's a dark horse shout, but I'll go for him.
Interesting. I'll go with a different shot as well. I'll go Declan Rice. I think he's going to be very important
Yeah.
for that midfield tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's had a very good season with Arsenal, so I'll go for a bit of a niche shout than a Bellingham or someone like that. Right, we're going to get into the last bit of the show, the score prediction in a moment, so I'll read out some comments. There's quite a few. It's time the footy gods should show some pity on the English fans and give them Euros to celebrate. They've suffered enough. That's from Matata United. But then English fans should not celebrate that loudly. Same goes for Arsenal fans if they win the Premier League next season. Celebrate normally. Mate, celebrate not. If we win, we haven't won a fucking trophy since like 1966,
What does that mean?
mate.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah. What does that mean? Celebrate normally?
No, there is no
If Arsenal
celebrating
win the
normally.
title next
You
year after
remember,
21
Nick,
years,
Yeah.
I told you something the last time the World Cup happened.
What was it?
India will qualify for the World Cup before England lift a major trophy like the Euros or World Cup.
you're probably
It's
right.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably
fair.
right. Mate, after that Euros in 2020, we was at my mates watching it, and we was all like booking taxis to go to town. It was like, we're going to be dancing on fucking buses, and we
Yeah.
had everything planned. We was like, oh my God, imagine how like jubilant the streets are going to be. And then we got beat, and everyone was like, I'm fucking going home, sick of this. Just fuming, absolutely fuming. I had England flag smeared on my face. Oh, it was horrendous.
Oh man.
Horrendous. Brian Casey's in the chat, who's a fellow Irishman. I'm sure he'll be hoping we get knocked out. We're saying, love the new logo, lads. This just for the Euros. It is, absolutely. It is. Just switching the theme up slightly. Charlie Mom says, I've lost 24 of the first game of the day. Don't know what that means. Richard saying, none of the games, but there is something badly wrong if England do not top the group. Charlie saying, Stones is doubtful he has a knock. Don't worry about it. He's fine. From what I've seen anyway, Stones is sweet. He's training with the team, so yeah. On paper, that team should be getting to the final of this tournament, but Southgate will ensure that won't happen. Charlie saying Spain, France, and Germany will be hard to get past. Trent out, Cobby in, problem solved. Footy Heritage saying Mainu over both. Trent, who can't defend, and Gallagher, who has zero football IQ. A mistake not taking Branthwaite would have took him over Dunk. Risky taking Shaw also as well. Switzerland are 2-0 up, are they? Interesting. I'm going to go catch the second half of that in a moment. After we give our ultimate score predictions, lads. Who wants to kick us off with this one?
2-1.
To Serbia.
I was going to say, I'm going to be boring.
Right, come on. We can't all have the same team and the same score prediction because I had 2-1 as well. We can't do that.
All right.
Give us something
3-0.
different.
3-0.
3-0. Okay.
3-0. I'll have some faith.
Who scores?
Kane.
Kane.
Bellingham.
Kane.
Kane, yeah.
Kane, Bellingham,
Probably 2
Saka.
penalties as well.
Okay. Yeah, I can also see a penalty there, 100%. Shreyas?
I think 2-1. Declan Rice scores and Bellingham scores, and for them Mitrovic off a set piece.
That's some match. Eze man of the match, Rice to score, and Mitrovic to score as well. I'm looking forward to that game. I'll go with I can't be.
You should go with a draw, Nick. Whenever you go with a draw, it's a 3 or 4
No,
game.
I'm not going with a draw for the opening game. I'm not that. That's IKEA thoughts. That I'm not doing that. I'll go with a 1-0. I think a 1-0.
Yeah.
I can really see a 1-0 in this. And I think, I don't know, even maybe a corner, like a Stones or something like that. I think I'll go with that. But the Euros have officially started, lads. We've had Scotland who have been pumped 5-1. What a fantastic start to the tournament that was. Switzerland are winning at the moment. I've got no dog in that fight, so it doesn't really mean much to me. But we've got Croatia and Spain at 5, which is going to be a fucking top game.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. But of course, we're all waiting for the ultimate Serbia versus England match. So hopefully you have all enjoyed this preview. It's been an absolute pleasure having Alex on, of course, because he's an Evertonian, so we don't get to see him as much on the United chat. But I'm sure with all the Branthwaite talk, we'll be getting you on sooner as well.
Branthwaite 2024 to United.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Branthwaite's going to transfer, and at the same time, Alex is actually going to transfer to United as well. So. And become a mighty red. That's what I've heard anyway. That's the rumours floating about. But who knows? Personal terms not agreed yet. Right. Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to buy it on Branthwaite before we go at all? Anything?
Do you know what? I think yous have actually, with that bid, yous have basically just said it's over. 35 million. Like, what are you actually playing at? Like, we should just turn off our phone now.
Do you not think that's a fair offer for Branthwaite?
Around 20.
Fair offer.
Yeah.
70 mil at the absolute minimum, but I'd be wanting more. I genuinely would.
What if we give you Johnny Evans as a make weight?
Yeah.
And then it's like you're not losing a centre back. Then you've got left-footed centre back. You can play at the back.
Yeah.
Experienced. Can sit deep. Don't have to push out. I think it's ideal for you personally.
I do like Johnny Evans.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. I'm telling you, mate. 1 year,
Yeah.
he's fucking done all right for us.
Player of the season for United in a way.
Yeah, he weren't far away from it. Anyway, we shall leave it at that, people. Like I said, I hope you've all enjoyed the preview. Smash a like on the video. Hit that subscribe button because we're currently on 5,000 and something. I don't know where it's gone. But we're on 5,000 and something. So, yeah, just hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this later on as well, let us know your thoughts on the predicted 11 and the scoreline for England in the Euros. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Same goes to Alex and Shreyas. Really enjoyed this one. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. See you in a bit.